Hi, I'm Dr. John Lund, author of How to Hug a Porcupine. We've been talking about criticism, but more than that, I want to talk about other behaviors. For example, that are toxic behaviors, well-meaning people thinking they're helping other people. For example, what I call the control freak. The person has to control everything in everybody's life in order for them to feel okay about their universe. That would be one thing, a control freak. The perfectionist. Everything has to be done just right. I'll be happy when everything that I want, people do in the way I want it done. Now, that's impossible, of course, and you're setting yourself up for failure and other people up for failure and yourself up for a lot of frustration at the same time. There's an underlying principle I want to underscore right now. Let me tell you what that principle is. All frustration comes from unmet expectation. There is no such thing as someone who is frustrated who didn't have an expectation. So the question becomes, are my expectations realistic? Well, guess how everybody's going to answer that? Well, mine are. Yours probably aren't, but mine are. See, that's where maybe our narcissism, our tendency to only see the universe through our eyes here can get in our way. I'm going to ask you some questions about becoming a toxic personality, such as, are you a toxic personality? I'm going to read some questions to you that can be answered true or false. So if you have a pencil or paper, if you want to get a hold of one or go back and record this, you can do so. Let me read it to you now. Am I a toxic person? Have others said to you, number one, that you're a perfectionist? Have you been accused of being a perfectionist? Number two, have others accused you of being a controlling person? Number three, have others said that you're highly critical? Number four, have others said that no one is ever good enough for you, or whatever they do doesn't seem to be good enough for you? Have others accused you of holding a grudge for a long time? Others have said you're stingy with your compliments. Are you often blaming others? Are you an impossible to please person? Think about that. Do you withhold love as a punishment? You can never give a compliment without following it with some other suggestion. Oh, I like your room was really good, dear, but if you could just fluff those pillows up, it'd be a little bit better. In other words, you can't give a compliment without having a little trailing barb after it. One of the little things they could do to be better, all right? Are you easily offended? Do you often contradict others? You frequently complain about what isn't being done? You frequently interrupt and correct others? You parent equals by telling them what they should, need, and ought to do? You're mad, upset, or angry much of the time? You react to others not doing what you want them to do by yelling, screaming, swearing, name-calling? You make threats of divorce or abandonment. You're rude, insensitive, curt, abrupt, and do not respect the opinions of others. You see yourself as more hardworking, more responsible, more capable, and more intelligent than others. Those are all questions that if you were to answer them, true or false, and be very, very honest with yourself, you might find that all of us have a couple of those traits as a part of our personality. But if you happen to have, on a scale of, let's say those were 21 questions, if you have, say, 3 of those, well, frankly, that's probably normal. And not that normal is always good, but at least it's normal. If you have 4 to 7, you are a critical person and you are hard to live with. You may not accept that, but that happens to be true. If you have 8 to 12, you're a highly critical and a highly non-accepting person with high expectations and high frustrations. And there's nothing wrong with setting goals and having good expectations. The problem is when you're an impossible to please person, if I give everything, and it's not enough, why should I give anything? It's still not going to be enough, and you're not going to be happy no matter what. And if you're 13 to 16 on that scale, you are toxic and you're dangerous to the self-worth of others. When people answer 17 to 19 of those, I tell them they're headed for divorce and rebellion, rejection, and conflicted relationships. And if they happen to get all 21 of them, then I tell them, you know what? I think you're best suited for living on an island alone.